Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Hiya Toys Godzilla King of the Monsters MOTHRA. It's going to be a pretty quick review. There's not a whole lot going on here, but it is a pretty cool thing. And in fact, it's one of the cooler things I've looked at lately for a few reasons. So there's no stand to get it off of because it wouldn't have worked really well spinning around. So we're just going to move the box aside and take a closer look. So this figure, we're going to do some measurements just so you have an idea of size. We're gonna get the wings pretty flat. All right, so the length, let's see, is my ruler big enough? So the length on this figure is just about 14.5 inches, right around there. So it's got some serious wingspan, and of course it's pretty tiny. It's pretty tiny, otherwise it's a little moth. Let's say, not counting the legs, he's about 1.5 inches. She, Mothra's a she, right? I don't know. I never really cared about MOTHRA because it was just a big moth. But this figure is pretty darn cool. If you want to see comparison-wise, by the way, there's Darwin. It's got some size to it in one direction, really. So really, the only thing to do is to really talk about the aesthetic. I'll show you the articulation. There is some, but there's not much. So let's go ahead and just look at the body first, the head and the body. For being as small as it is, they did an incredible job. I am thoroughly impressed by this. This might be the best looking figure they've ever made. That head sculpt, the whole body, everything is sculpted incredibly well. The details are great. The paint job is immaculate. Well, this is one of the best paints I've ever seen on a figure. It's nuts. The body is really, really well done. All the parts look incredibly good. Even if they're just dry brushed, they're done well. There is some articulation, that's why that's off center. It's done really, really well. So let's look at the wings. The paint job on the wings, and it's all sculpted, by the way, but the paint job, not only is it really good, but it's very symmetrical. We don't see because it's airbrushed in some places and things like that, you would expect it to not be completely even. It's really, really consistent from side to side. They did a wonderful job with this. The amount of paint on this thing is nuts, and it's so well detailed. Basically the same paint job on the top and on the bottom, but it's really, really, really good. I am thoroughly impressed with this figure. And like I said, I don't care about MOTHRA. It's just a big, cool looking moth. I mean, moths are already cool, but you know what I mean. It's just a moth. It's not a big lizard or anything like that. And this looks incredible. This is gonna make a wonderful display piece for somebody who wants MOTHRA in their collection. Very cool looking figure. As far as accessories go, it's just the display stand, which is a little bit oversized, kind of, considering how small the body of the moth actually is, and it doesn't weigh much. But I like the fact that you can disassemble the arm to make it taller or shorter or have more bends or fewer bends. That's pretty nice, and you do get the two little clippy things to clip it to a different display stand if you want to with another figure. So that's fine. I'm not going to rate it. It's just a display stand. And then the articulation. There's not a ton, but we'll go over it. So the arms, so tiny. The arms basically just rotate. These outer arms. There's a little bit of a wiggle, so I think it's technically a ball. Yeah, I think you can rotate it some. It doesn't feel like it's just flexing. So there's a little bit of rotation in a couple directions there. These little arms, they're on little ball pegs, so they move around enough. Not a ton. I know it's hard for me to show you this. It's so little. That's what she said? Not to, well, okay. So the legs also basically the same thing as the big arms. So it's a little bit of a ball peg, but mostly just rotation forward and back. And then the back part of the body is on a ball peg, so it can lean and it can rotate, of course, if you need to. Now the wings, we have the two big wings and the two little wings. They all have hinges. Okay, so we have our hinge there. You can see that on the big and the little. And then they also have rotation where the hinge connects if you need to adjust it for posability. Not a ton of range, but it is there. So you can pose this thing enough to make it look good in your display. And I think that's all you really have any right to ask for a giant moth. There's not a whole lot you can do with just giant wings and little tiny body parts. But what they could do, they did, and I still can't get over how good this thing looks. I don't know if it's looking as good on camera as it does in person, but I love it. I love the tiny details in the sculpt and the fact that they painted the eyes so cleanly. I really, really like it. I think you guys, if you're into this sort of thing, this is one you have to get. It's one of the best paint jobs, especially at this size, that I have ever seen. It's just nuts. I like it, and I think you will too. I'm not going to do any ratings because it's not really an action figure, but it's good, and I think that's enough information for you for that. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.